before, you think you know, so you're like, hey, it's like, I don't remember if I've seen it. All right, here we go.
Every day I'm hustling.
Welcome to the Garage Hustle, episode 4. We're here at the Blueprint Collaborative and just really excited about just keeping this going. So I think maybe Eric and Vincent, if you want to introduce our guest, and we'll just keep this rolling.
Yeah, today we've got Adam Kail. He's going to be able to talk about his businesses, but he's a local entrepreneur. He's one of the Carbon Stories clients, so we've been doing work with him for the last year and a half, and so I'm really excited to hear him kind of talk about the start of his companies as well as the future of some of the new stuff he's starting. So
Sweet, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, let's get right into it. We know you for a while.
Yeah.
But I want to know your story. How did you start everything? Like from Harrison, is it Harrison?
It's Harrison Gray.
And then to
Two brothers.
Yeah.
So I came out of the corporate world. I used to live in I lived in New York and I lived in Denver, and I worked for big companies, a tech company, and ran a bunch of units and a bunch of people, and it was fun. I learned a lot about operations and management and leadership, and I had some really good mentors. So I was super lucky. I was able to be developed really as like rapid development, which for someone like me needed to be developed. I'm not the kind of person that could just start a company because I had pretty awful people skills and low emotional intelligence. So I worked on all that, moved to Grand Rapids, and did something different. Worked for an executive search firm because my uncle did it, and I wanted a job that I could make a lot of money and not work that much. Truthfully, that was my original goal. And then I realized I was good at it, and so I started my own search firm a year and a half later. During that process, so I think with entrepreneurship, you see an opportunity or you have a problem and you create something to address that, correct? So I started my own firm, and my old employer said, we think you're violating a term of your non-compete, which I wasn't. So they started a legal process with me, and my savings account started so during that time, I was like, okay, I need to figure out something that in case, I don't think this is going to go to court, but if it did go to court, I have to start something that I want to just make a little bit of a side hustle, if you will. I wasn't in the garage. It was just on the side.
Side hustle.
Yeah, the side hustle. That's now trademarked. This is documented.
Quick, is that domain available?
Side hustle has never been said before. I'm the first person. So anyway, long story short, I was looking for a leather bag, and I couldn't find one that I liked at a good price, like anywhere less than like $1,000. And so I was like, this feels like this whole system's rigged. And so really quickly, in 6 weeks, had a logo made, found a manufacturer, had 4 really, really simple designs, put it on our website that I built, and I thought if I could sell like $500 in sales a month, and the whole goal is to make it very affordable. So like instead of charging $600, $800, $900, $1,000 for like a leather bag, we would charge like $250 to $400, and try to make them look cool. And I thought if I could do $500 a month, it'd be awesome. Our first month we did like $4,500. Our second month we did like $15,000. And I was like, okay, we got something here.
a little something.
Yeah. And so then it started to really explode, and then I've just been trying to like keep my head above water for the last 2.5 years. That's pretty much almost 3 years now. So that's kind of what's been going on.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So give me a couple timelines on the search firm Harrison Gray.
Yep. Harrison Gray started January of 2014, January 1. Brothers started March 17th of 2014.
oh wow.
And then
March what?
March 17th, St. Patrick's Day.
I was
Any-
in high school.
You were
in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you were in high school. You were just out of high school when
I was
met you.
graduating, but yeah, when we
You guys are crazy entrepreneurs. You're like me on steroids, legal steroids. So, and then the other part of it too is my non-compete ended January of 2016, so January of last year, and then all I could go after all of my old clients in my old industry again. So that's been when the real challenge happened, because Brothers was doing great. I spent a lot of time focusing on Brothers. Did a little bit of work with Harrison Gray. We did good. Like I was working in other industries. But then when I was able to access my old clients again, that's been when the real challenge is. That's when got really, really hard.
Side note, parallel discussion for the future. Non-competes. We need to do a special on non-competes. I've experienced it. You've experienced
Yeah.
it. There's plenty of people out there that say, man, if I could only start my own business, but I got suckered into this non-compete, we should get a round table.
Yeah.
And if you're interested, follow Instagram, chime in if you got good
Yes,
content to
comment.
add,
Yeah.
whether it's before or after a non-compete.
Yep.
That's huge. That's a massive roadblock My old employer told me it was the golden handcuffs and smiled every time you said it.
Yeah.
And I think that's when someone says that to you, walk the other way and leave.
Yeah. And I've got a great lawyer we should bring into that conversation.
Perfect. I love it. There we go.
He's money. He is, and it's a lot of money.
And they are.
He's money in both senses of the word.
So talk about the explosion. How did you get your leather company to kind of take that next step, right? You went from 4,500 to 15 grand.
Yeah.
Like what was your tactics? What did you focus on? Who's your target market?
Yeah. So I don't know what I'm doing with Brothers Leather. I didn't know. I kind of know now. I still don't really know. I thought I was my target market, so I tried to market to myself, which I was always interested in all of my content. So it worked, right? So I would try to say, okay, I'm who I'm selling to. So what is going to catch my interest? How's that going to work? And I had a lot of friends who bought in the beginning, so I remember the first 2 weeks I didn't recognize every name that came in. And I'll never forget the first time I saw a name that I had no idea. I didn't spend $1 in advertising, nothing. It was just like this person bought a bag. And I was like, this is a monumental moment. She was in Texas, still remember. And so, we just basically we operated off all of our profits. For the longest time we didn't have a line of credit. Just because I didn't want to do it. It's impossible, unless you have a ton of cash, it's impossible to grow without some kind of funding. And so we just operated off our profits and grew slow. Like every dollar we made, we put back into the company to make more bags. And so, it was challenging to figure out, when the growth started to really explode, it's trying to figure out how do we keep up. Is this marketing working? It's basically viral and organic, and it's people are sharing and liking, and so I get that question a lot, and I don't really know an answer because I literally just said this is what would get me interested, and I hope that people that were in my same salary range and in my same kind of age bracket, like that 28 to 40, that's kind of I think our target market, and so that's what I did, and I think I just got pretty lucky, and yeah.
I think the last year and a half that we've been taking pictures, some of the tactics we've used is making sure that they're in real life environments, where they're actually going to use the bags, so that the photos are seen in an office, the photos are seen on a beach with some of the new canvas stuff. I'll show some of those pictures because I think they're really, I like how genuine they are, because it's that's where people would actually go with that stuff.
Yeah, and the whole thing is affordable price, really great quality. At the end of the day, people buy things because they're quality, and they'll come back to it if it's quality.
Yeah.
And our price point is really great for what we're making and who we're competing against. So we try to use the best materials, naturally tanned, natural ingredients, and our leather's made with ingredients, right? So that's been our kind of, we've been trying to focus on it, and we're still trying to figure out how to tell that story in a relevant way.
What's two-part question?
Yep.
Biggest challenge and biggest surprise that you thought was going to be a challenge, and it just happened. You were better at it than you thought. You got lucky, some would say.
Yeah. My biggest challenge has always been time management. So, for example, I try to plan out my day. I'm going to spend 8 to 10 on Brothers. I'm going to spend 10 to 2 on Harrison Gray Search. I'm going to spend 2 to 4 on Harrison Gray Digital, our newest venture. And then I get to the end of Brothers and I start Harrison Gray, and a fire happens with Brothers, and my whole day is gone. And then I'm behind. And so time management has been really hard. I have an amazing wife and 3 little kids, and that's been really difficult too, to come home and shut off. I was better at it when I worked for a company. I still worked a lot, but I was able to check out when I got home, because I could just say okay, I'll pick me 8 to 5. Yeah, I'll pick it up tomorrow. Right. But now that if I don't produce, I don't earn money. It's always in the back of my head, and I love what I do. It's a natural it's all the dopamine in my brain gets released when I start thinking about what I do, what I get to do the next day or what I get to do later tonight. So that's the biggest challenge, is trying to really manage my time at work, focusing on the right things, making sure that I'm trusting the people. We have 11 people working for us now between both companies, 4 of which are full-time. So we've got people, and I'm trusting them to do their jobs, and we hire great people. We have great people. That sounded like a Trump thing right there. Like I said, the best people, the greatest people. No, but I trust them to do their jobs, and that's challenging for me too. Someone who's very hands-on, and likes to I'm not a micromanager, but I want to okay, we want to grow this way this year, so make sure you do that, and trusting them to do it, and then also being able to manage my time and then spend time with my family. I live to I work to live, not the other way around. Like my time at home is why I do what I do. So, and then the biggest challenge that I'd say that kind of exploded was really just like getting out there. Like once we started to get in people's hands, like our bag is a product that people can carry around and show their friends. It's not like a pair of socks where you'd have to like really show them socks. Bags like, oh, that bag is sweet. And so they got picked up by a couple of like brand, those are nice socks though, brand, like what I call brand accelerators that like show our product to millions of people, and then we sell it to them and then they resell it, which was a great marketing tactic for us. And we used a few of those and did a lot of big deals with them. And so that really helped get our brand we've sold to over 6,000 people in the last 3 years in 18 countries, and getting more people carrying our product is another way to sell it. And so I thought that would be more challenging than that was, just getting our product out there. So.
I have like a 3-part question. You kind of talked about you being developed into a better people skills and management.
Yep.
Did you know since you were a kid or younger that you wanted to be an entrepreneur, or was it completely random? And then second part, you said that dopamine gets released. Now that you are an entrepreneur and you do multiple things, 'cause I think we all do like a lot.
Yeah.
And I realize, even with my time, I'm realizing that I'm doing a lot, but it's like I'd rather do this than anything else.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
kind of talk about that relationship and like how did you kind of fall into it, or did you know deep down that this was always what you're gonna do, or just not at the time?
No, I take it like 1 year at a time. Like I didn't have a grand plan for my life. Like I'm doing this now, I'm gonna do this as well as I can and see where it leads. I think sometimes it's awesome to have a goal. Like I have dreams and I have goals, but I think about like where I'm planted now. I'm gonna grow where I'm planted and see where that takes me. And so whether my first job out of college was I worked for Colorado State University. We were building a new global campus. This is back in like 2008. So when you guys were like in middle school.
Yeah.
So when you guys were
Some of us,
you guys were watching Batman at 4, I don't know if Batman was still on then. Man, awesome.
think it was,
Highlight of my day. So I was just basically on the phone, like calling new students, trying to get them to enroll in Colorado State's new online college. And it wasn't the most sexiest of jobs, but I'm gonna do this as best as I can and see what happens. And I got promoted quickly, and so I realized I wanted to start my own company when I had 350 people below me at this company in Denver, and I was laying people off every Christmas. They're like, hey Adam, either here's your list or we need to cut 20%. And it was just kind of a thing they did every year, and or most years. And so I would have to have these really hard conversations, laying people off, which I have no problem terminating someone if they're not the right fit, but laying off is different. And I thought, I don't want this to ever be me. Selfish as I never wanted to be in my late 50s, early 60s working at a company and being laid off and then having to figure out what I'm going to do next.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wanted to control my future. And so that's when that bug hit me, like, okay, I'm going to start in the executive search world because I can control my future more this way and see where it leads. And I think once I started Harrison Gray and got it going, then I was like, oh, this wasn't that hard because there's no product. It's all my time. And then I started Brothers, and this is very hard, much different. I don't know if I don't know if I'd recommend starting a product company and a consulting company at the same time. But it was basically I take it 1 week at a time and try to figure out, do my best this week, see what happens next week. Do my best this year, see what happens next year. Dream big, but kind of think small.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. A couple things I wrote down while you're going is just trust your people to do the work. And I think probably a big part of that is you have good people that you can trust.
Yep.
And that last thing you said is control your future.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of why we do what we do and why we want to encourage other people to take that step. I know Maddie gave us kind of the 2-minute signal, but last, touch advice for people starting.
Yeah, so the point of the podcast here, the video blog, is really to encourage those people thinking, man, I had Brother's idea 5 years ago before Adam, but why is Adam successful? Well, you executed it.
Yeah.
So how do you tell these guys, what do they do? And there's so much fear that this culture, this world puts in us.
Yeah.
How do you tell them to do it?
Yeah. So I think there's a couple things. One, I've never seen anybody work as hard as they can and fail. I've never seen it happen. It's never happened. You may work really hard at a really bad idea and that idea doesn't turn out the way you want to, but you still learn something. I wouldn't call that failure. Failure happens when you don't give it everything you've got. So I would say if you're thinking about starting a company, or a brand or whatever you're doing right now, do that as best you can and see what happens, right? A lot of times companies start out of ideas. They also can start out of like lethargicness. I don't like what I'm doing now. I want to do something that I want to control. But I would say in that point of your life where you're in that job you don't want to be in, or that's not ideal, like do it as best you can and watch what happens, because that's going to teach you a lot when you're managing people that are probably doing something in your company they don't ultimately want to be doing long term, right? So I would say do your best right now, whatever you're at, and like work on yourself. The first thing is work on yourself. The second thing is it's like marriage and divorce. You can't talk about divorce in a marriage because it might happen, and there's more chance it's going to happen. I've never talked about failing one time. I had an employee one time to say, I think we're going to fail in 2 months. I think we're going to fail. And I said, this is not.
You're going to fail now.
I go, this is actually not the right opportunity for you, because we don't ever talk about failure, no matter what happens. No matter if we have a bad shipment that comes in with the wrong product, or there's a tons of stuff that can happen, or a client cancels a search that we were almost done on, we spent all this time on. Failure is not an option. You do not fail. You make it work. You work hard. You grind through. You press on, and I think that would be the biggest thing. So don't say the stat of like 8 out of 10 new businesses fail. 8 out of 10 new business owners are talking about failing. That's why they fail.
And failure is essentially fear.
That's
If you think of failure as a positive thing, then failure is never around.
Anything I've ever been successful in, I've never considered failing. So, and I would say if you have an idea and that fear is really, really relevant, take it to another idea and see if that fear is the same. Because the idea might not be gold. The idea, like every idea you have is not an idea you should start a business with. That is, you really need to test it out, talk to mentors. That's another thing I would advocate for is mentors. People that are older than you or younger. Like Eric's a younger mentor because the kid just grinds, like goes at it. Like he's 20 and he's like, oh yeah, I'm 20, or I'm like, hey man, let's go grab a beer. He's like, I can't, I'm 20. I'm like, oh, sorry, I forgot you're 20. Like find mentors at different age brackets that you can learn from that are much older than you and even younger than you, and keep those people around.
That's really good.
So I'm taking over the 12-minute mark, guys.
No, it's good.
I'm
sorry. That's a loose buffer.
That's a loose buffer.
But that's really good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm really excited that you're able to talk about those things. Can you touch a little bit on Harrison Gray Digital, because I know it's new?
Yep. So we started it. So okay, long story short, digital marketing has been challenging for us. We've hired agencies that we pay thousands in retainers for. That's before your ad spend. And the common speak in agency social media is like it's going to take 6 to 8 months to really figure out what works, and I understand that, but I don't have the time. I can't spend $2,000 a month just on fees to get 8 months late, and that's not including your ad spend. That's not including $50 to $100 a day in ad spend.
And then the content that needs to be
created.
created.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to do this internally. I hired a kid that I met, and I say kid because he's young. He's younger, right? He's like 23, and he is a Facebook scientist. He knows how to retarget. He knows all the intricacies of it, and he spent the last 2.5 months educating me on it, and I gave him Brothers as like a pilot. I was like, take our account, see what you can do. We grew our social media following by 2,000 people and they're good followers. There's no, like, we audit them. There's no robots. Legit followers were from 10,500 to 12,500 in 2 months. We've increased our ROI by 393%. We've increased our overall social media referral sales by 500%, and we've spent 44% less.
Wow.
So we've cut our ad spend in half, and we've grown it by, our ad, we've done 1,000% in 2 months of last year's complete social media referral sales. It's crazy.
Awesome. Yeah.
So I said, okay, there's something here, there's an opportunity.
Yeah.
And so now we're working with companies.
That's Alexa.
Alexa.
Oh, Alexa.
Interrupting us.
Smart officer.
Yeah. So we are now we're working with we're started talking to other companies about how we can, both they're in the e-commerce space, but also working with like a physical therapy company, a brewery around here that we're trying to say, look guys, I tell them our story. I'm like, we can do the same for you. And our retainer is like $700 a month. Yeah. So it's super affordable, and if it doesn't pay for itself, I'm not saying you have to wait 6 months. Like, we can go after your ideal buyer with the data that you have, and we will manipulate that data to go after ideal buyers of Brothers, or ideal drinkers of X beer, or ideal people that need their shoulders worked on. Yeah. And we'll drive people to your businesses. And so we've started with 3 or 4 companies now. Again, we're 2 weeks old, but we're fresh. We're really, once you've done it once, it's easier to know it. It's easier. But so yeah, thanks for that. We'll talk about it. But this is just a need that I see an opportunity for, that we can do it better than the massive firms, and we can do it at a fraction of the price.
Adam, where can our viewers find you online?
Well, don't do a Google search of me because there's some stuff from the late 2000s I don't really want to talk about. I'm just kidding. There's nothing.
Pull it up right now.
Late 2000s.
We're gonna have that on the screen right now.
No, so you can go to brothersleathersupply.com. Check out our bags, wallets, belts, canvas bags. You've got a few.
I've got a belt on right
Yeah.
now. I've been
Yeah.
wearing this belt since the first
Yep.
video, and it's still their belts.
He's shown it to me too often. I've seen that belt, especially on your person. HarrisonGraySearch.com. We do helping companies grow. So if you need to find any talent, you can come there. And then HarrisonGrayDigital.com is the last website.
That's awesome.
Perfect.
Yep.
Dude, thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries.
This
I
is really
appreciate
great.
coming in on a Friday morning.
Yeah,
And,
thanks for the opportunity.
Episode 4
Episode 4,
is in the
man.
books. So
Yeah,
awesome.
we don't have a sign off. So
Yes, we
every
do.
time
you guys say-
Eric has a sign off.
I do a little
You should
sign off.
say
See you in the tomorrow.